Asterisk, these statements have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. The information is for educational purposes only and is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure or prevent any disease. Welcome back to our 4th week of Going from Sickness to Health, learning the 10 principles of health. Tonight we are going to place special emphasis on developing this week's principle into lifelong habits. This evening, we're discussing the principle nutrition, the proper way that food should nourish our bodies for health. Let's go ahead and take care of our first question. What is food or nutrition? According to the book Healthy Self, it should nourish, repair without causing any injury, i.e., pain, discomfort, sickness or disease. 1. Food is any substance which, when absorbed into the blood, will nourish the tissue, repair waste, and furnish force and heat to the body, without causing injury to any of its parts. Let's answer our second question for this evening. Nutrition is the science that studies food and how food nourishes our bodies and influences our health. Now, our first video clip beautifully sums up the stance we must take regarding nutrition. Let's watch.
How did you lose so much weight? What kind of diet are you on?
The short answer is, I went on essentially a plant-based diet. I live on beans, legumes, vegetables, fruit. I drink a protein supplement every morning, no dairy. I drink almond milk mixed in with fruit and a protein powder, so I get the protein for the day when I start the day out. And it changed my whole metabolism, and I lost 24 pounds. And I got back to basically what I weighed in high school. But I did it for a different reason. I mean, I wanted to lose a little weight, but I didn't dream this would happen. I did it because after I had this stent put in, I realized that even though it happens quite often that after you have bypasses, you lose the veins because they're thinner and weaker than arteries. The truth is that it clogged up, which means that the cholesterol was still causing buildup in my vein that was part of my bypass. And thank God I could take the stents. I don't want it to happen again. So I did all this research, and I saw that 82% of the people since 1986 who have gone on a plant-based, no dairy, no meat of any kind, no chicken, turkey. I eat very little fish. Once in a while I'll have a little fish, not often. If you can do it, 82% of the people who've done that have begun to heal themselves. Their arterial blockage cleans up. The calcium deposit around their heart breaks up. This movement has been led by a doctor named Caldwell Esselstyn at the Cleveland Clinic, Dean Ornish, whom you know, out in California, the doctors Campbell, father and son, who wrote the China study, and a handful of others. But we now have 25 years of evidence. And so I thought, well, since I need to lose a little weight for Chelsea's wedding, I'll become part of this experiment. I'll see if I can be one of those that can have a self-clearing mechanism. We'll see.
I hope you're healthy for many years and get to see grandchildren for many years.
Me too. Come. That's really the big deal. You know, Hillary and I, we're happy. We love our son-in-law and we admire him, but we'd like to be around. If there's grandkids, we want to be there to do our part.
Mr. President, good luck.
Thank you.
Thanks for what you do.
So far we have looked at trusting more and stressing less. We've discussed how important it is to our health to have refreshing rest. And last week we concluded that sunshine is not our enemy, but our friend and should be enjoyed. But what about nutrition? There is so much confusion about what foods are best for our bodies. So, we're going to endeavor to look at not just what we can and must eat, but also why we must eat certain foods, and why we must avoid others, if we are to maintain health and prevent chronic diseases. But first, let's look at the essential components of nutrition for the human body with some nutrition facts. Nutrition fact number 1. A plant-rich diet can help cut type 2 diabetes risk by 50%. Fact number 2. A plant-rich diet dramatically lowers overall cholesterol. Fact number 3. Studies are showing that a plant-rich diet can help reverse coronary artery disease or heart disease. Fact number 4. A plant-rich diet lowers BMI, while meat consumption is linked to increase in obesity. Red meat consumption is directly linked with increased risk of type 2 diabetes, heart disease and cancer. There are 7 different nutrients that the body needs: carbohydrates, proteins, fats, minerals, vitamins, fiber, water. These are all substances that allow our bodies to make energy, build and maintain tissues, and regulate bodily processes. Roughage is fiber. It is the broom contained in plant-based foods that move food through the system. In addition, fats are also known as lipids. Carbohydrates provide energy. Protein aids in growth and repair. Lipids, fats and oils provide energy. Fats also store energy in the body and insulate it against the cold. Minerals are needed in small amounts to maintain health. Vitamins are needed in large amounts to maintain health. Dietary fiber provides roughage to help to keep the food moving through the gut. Nutrients are broken down further into 2 main categories. Let's learn about both. Macronutrients are required in large quantities, while micronutrients are required in small quantities. Both are necessary. However, many focus too much attention on protein, while most people are vitamin and mineral starved. Then, there is that often forgotten nutrient, water, which is a macronutrient since we need it in large quantities, but is placed in a category by itself. Water is necessary for lubricating the joints, transporting substances through the body and regulating body temperature. We will talk about water in depth next week. But this is simple enough, right? Question number 3. Carbohydrates, fats and proteins are the only nutrients in foods that provide energy. These are all called macronutrients. So let's answer item number 4. Vitamins and minerals are called micronutrients, as we need relatively small amounts of them to support normal health and body functions. What causes sickness and disease? So with such clear information and understanding of nutritional science, why are people still getting sicker and sicker? Well, we turn to our definition of sickness and disease that we look at each week. Sickness and disease are an effort of nature to free the system from conditions that result from a violation of the laws of health. Yes, disease is a result of a violation of the laws of health. Could you ever imagine that often what we place in our mouths and stomachs violates the law of nutrition, which we just summarized? How could this be? Our 5th point will help us with question 5. Whatever we eat is broken down into nutrients that fuel our cells, the building blocks of our bodies. We only think of food in terms of feeding our stomachs. But it is our cells, the building blocks of our bodies. If we make the cells sick, like with foods that are carcinogenic or toxic, we sicken the entire body. So we have to feed our cells the nutrition they require. When we don't, it is a violation, and then diseases like cancer comes. Let's watch.
Hot dogs, bacon, hams, and sausage can cause cancer. That's according to the International Agency for Research on Cancer, part of the World Health Organization. Experts are now saying there is now sufficient evidence that eating processed meats is, quote, carcinogenic to humans. In other words, these processed meats on your screen cause cancer. They say the risk of developing colorectal cancer is small, but it rises depending on how much processed meat you eat. The report also finds that red meat, like beef, pork, and lamb, probably cause cancer too. But the link to cancer isn't as strong as processed meats. With processed meats, they are now sure they cause cancer. Let's bring in Dr. Roshini Raj. She is an attending physician at NYU's Langone Medical Center and an associate professor of NYU School of Medicine. So Lunchables are out.
They're pretty much out. I mean,
Really?
this is not shocking news to me as a gastroenterologist. We know that processed meats do increase your risk of colorectal cancer, probably stomach cancer as well. But for the World Health Organization to come out and call it a class 1 carcinogen really raises awareness to everyone out there that you are what you eat, and there are certain foods that will increase your risk of cancer. In this case, by as much as 18% when we're talking about colorectal cancer if you eat these foods every day.
I didn't realize colorectal cancer was the third leading cause of death among cancers.
It is, and it's the third most common cause of cancer for men and women.
I had
Very
no
common.
idea till this study. I don't know how I missed that.
Yeah.
The idea that you can feed kids Lunchables and they get a little meat, they get a little cheese, they get a, that's gone now. I don't want to get sued by Lunchables, but I mean this report shows that's bad.
It's bad. And when, I mean, I have two kids too. One of their favorite foods are hot dogs, but you have
Lots of
to
good
limit
salt
it.
in there too.
Right, exactly, and the nitrates. So you really have to limit it. We're also talking about red meat, which was said probably causes cancer in humans. So class 2 carcinogen, also not great for you. I mean, what we're learning more and more is a plant-based diet or a Mediterranean diet that has whole grains, fruits and vegetables. The red meat, not great, and the processed meat
Chili
is
turkey
like,
doesn't cut it?
the
'Cause
processed
that's in
turkey is not
Lunchables.
good. Yeah, if it's been salted, cured, fermented, processed in some way to, you know, have it preserved for a longer period of time, that's processed meat, not a good thing in terms of your cancer risk. Not just colorectal cancer, but they saw some links with even prostate cancer, pancreatic cancer as well.
This is one of the big changes in our diets, especially in America,
Right.
say in my lifetime.
They said on average American men these days eat about 100 grams of meat per day. And we're saying that the risk is as much as, you know, increased with just 50 grams per day. So a lot of people have to make a lot of changes in their diet.
And going fresh and going fruits and grains and vegetables is really the way to do it.
It's the way to do it. Study after study is showing us that the Mediterranean diet, which is the fruits, the vegetables, the whole
Our next video. Notice in this video, which reported the World Health Organization's 2015 findings, that processed meats, including hot dogs, bacon, deli meats, increase the risk of certain cancers. Isn't that an attention grabber? With this study, we see the results of a violation of the law of protein. Getting too much of it from the wrong source and it is carcinogenic. It also violates the law of fiber, eating foods like red meat which have no fiber. We will also look at when we violate the law of vitamins and minerals, not getting enough from the foods we eat, and the violation of the law of carbohydrates, or white refined sugar. Too much can be toxic, but in most situations, the same sickness that comes as a result of unlawful foods can be cured by the lawful ones. We want you to really sit back tonight, as we are going to show videos we have carefully compiled that really speak to the issues. Here is another video clip that you'll find.
For the rest of the hour, our focus is on the power of food to heal your body, to give you more energy, and even help you lose weight. Now, we're starting with the promise of food as medicine. You have the power to help prevent cancer. That is an absolute truism. The solution lies in your supermarket. Today I'm revealing 4 of the best cancer-fighting foods out there. Dr. Will Clower is a nutritionist and founder of the Mediterranean Wellness Initiative. He's going to help us out. Let me ask the big question for everybody.
Yeah.
We spend literally billions of dollars researching cancer solutions.
Yeah.
Yet you're making the argument that food could be as powerful as a tool to prevent cancer. Why should folks believe that?
Well, all of these foods that we're going to be talking about are backed up by solid research showing that when you consume them, you can not only slow the growth of cancer, but you can also prevent the onset at the beginning.
We're going to go through the hard science on this, but I want you to remember what the action steps are, the takeaways are. So the first cancer-fighting food are collard greens, which you've all heard about. But why are collard greens so important in fighting cancer?
Well, people spend a lot of money on detox your body, this and that. You know what? Do you want to detox your body? Collards. If you have a tumor, it needs nutrients to grow. And that needs blood supply. And what collards do is they will interrupt that blood supply so your tumor can't get the nutrients to grow. So essentially, when you eat your collards, you'll starve your tumor. And that is a starvation diet I can live with.
More encouraging. Did you hear that? Collard greens. Isn't that encouraging? Foods can heal like medicine, can prevent disease and even reverse some chronic conditions. So it is the dark green, leafy vegetables, of which there are many, including kale, Swiss chard, etc. So eat your greens to fight cancer. But from what we just saw, we need to avoid foods that cause cancer. How many of you have heard of the China study? In the book, authored by Dr. T. Colin Campbell, showed that when the protein casein found in meat and dairy is introduced into the body, it turns on cancer. When it is taken out of the diet, the cancer gene is turned off. So let's go ahead and answer our 6th question for the evening. The China study, led by T. Colin Campbell, showed that Chinese have fewer incidences of heart disease, cancer, osteoporosis and iron deficiency anemia. Studies have shown that a low-fat, high-fiber, high-carb, yes, high-carb, diet can be effective in reducing the risk of developing type 1 diabetes and in reversing type 2 diabetes. Plants are naturally higher in carbs. The majority of our carbs should be from fruits and vegetables. What about the chronic lifestyle disease that is affecting people worldwide? If you said diabetes, you are right. What are studies saying about how nutrition affects the risk of diabetes and how nutrition can help prevent or even reverse this chronic condition? Now here are a few videos that shed more light on.
Inside of the grocery market is like a cemetery, a burial ground for synthetic, cooked, or processed foods. So people stroll up and down these foodless plots looking for the best packaging. We're a quick-fix generation focused on packaging and trends. But when it comes to your health, son, it's as timeless as the sky is blue. You want to see packaging? Who packaged this? Who made these bright colors? Now that's packaging. And it's through your innocence that you'll see the carrot looks like an eye, and we know that carrots are good for the eyes. Or the walnut. It's a little brain loaded with brain foods. And I'm amazed how the tomato looks just like the inside of a heart. You want to hear something kind of funny but sad? My generation lives on buns and rolls, and it shows. 2 out of 3 of us are overweight. However, nature is nutritionally complicated, so we don't have to be. And oh yeah, another thing. See that over there? Beware of those trendy marketeers who will preach inferiorism to you, telling you that the food is no good, the dirt is no good, the air is no good, and the water is no good. They'll even tell you that you're no good, so they can sell you their lifeless, synthetic, fractionated supplements. Here's the deal. If you can breathe, keep breathing. And if the water's wet, drink it. The cleaner, the better. And of course, if God made it, eat it. If man made it, leave it alone or eat it in moderation. All of these drug and pill pushers have slowly handicapped our generation, making health an event. But you need to know that health is a habit. It's not an event. It's the little things we do day after day that lead to wellness or disease. It's not a handful of supplements chased by a frothy, nasty green drink on a Saturday morning. That's not health. That's hope and toxicity. Which reminds me, I am not going to raise you to be a fanatic. Fanatics die every day of self-inflicted stress. That's why they have bad breath. So live a little, but do so with your eyes wide open. Someday, you're going to have dreams just like me. Dreams of love, family, money, spirituality. But you'll soon see how many people around you set out to create and sustain their dreams, stepping over their health to get there. Only to come up short, hopeless, cynical, fearful, and survivors. But now, they've had a heart attack, or diabetes, or strokes, or they struggle with obesity. But enough is enough, and the buck stops here. You and I are not floating down the stream. So why am I telling you this? Because you're going to outlive me. I'll be your example. I may need your care and assistance someday. And because, of course, I love and care for you.
On nutrition and diabetes, that it is better to have the whole fruit, fiber and all, rather than the juice, to reduce the risks of type 2 diabetes. Many of us think we're doing well by drinking a lot of fruit juice. This can increase risks of type 2 diabetes. The reason is because the fiber slows down the absorption of the sugar. So our next question for the evening. Number 7. Eating whole foods, including whole fruits, instead of drinking the processed fruit juice, can reduce risks of type 2 diabetes. Before we take a look at a couple of news clips that powerfully prove that you can indeed prevent and reverse type 2 diabetes, let's go ahead and answer our next question. Number 8. A whole food, plant-based diet can prevent and actually reverse type 2 diabetes. Did you hear that she still has a little ice cream at the end? What about that ice cream? Is the woman's health going to be okay with a little ice cream? Let's see with this next video.
When you think about it, the purpose of cow's milk, I did most of my growing up on a dairy farm in Wisconsin. The purpose of cow's milk is to turn a 65-pound calf into a 400-pound cow as rapidly as possible. Cow's milk is baby calf growth fluid. That's what this stuff is. Everything in that white liquid, the hormones, the lipids, the proteins, the sodium, the growth factors, the IGF, every one of those is meant to blow that calf up to a great big cow, or it wouldn't be there. And whether you pour it on your cereal as a liquid, whether you clot it into yogurt, whether you eat it into cheese, whether you freeze it into ice cream, it's baby calf growth fluid. And women eat it, and it stimulates their tissues, and it gives women breast lumps. It makes the uterus get big, and they get fibroids, and they bleed, and they get hysterectomies, and they need mammograms, and gives guys man boobs. This is, cow's milk is the lactation secretions of a large bovine mammal who just had a baby. It's for baby calves. You know, I tell my patients, go look in the mirror. Now, do you have big ears? Do you have a tail? Are you a baby calf? If you're not, don't be eating baby calf growth fluid in any level. There's nothing in it people need.
Clip on milk. What about when a person has suffered from type 2 diabetes for years and has been taking insulin shots? Can their diabetes be reversed?
Get rid of insulin, control blood sugar, minimize medication in just a few days? Sound too good to be true? Rosalie Isles did it. She was hospitalized, overweight, suffering from hypertension and high blood pressure when she met Dr. Baxter Montgomery, and he immediately put her on a special diet.
But 3 days after I went on this diet, I was taken off the insulin. I had been on insulin since 1987. I no longer take insulin.
By getting on a plant-based diet and getting her completely off animal flesh, it allowed us to get off the insulin, and it allows her to lose weight.
Rosalie says she lost 35 pounds in 2 months and reversed her heart disease. This is Rosalie before the diet. Now, at the age of 81, she's confident enough to model in fashion shows.
I feel like a different person. Ever since I started coming to Dr. Montgomery, my life has been different. I'm completely changed.
The dreaded scale.
Victor Fuller had just undergone his second life-saving open heart surgery when he turned to Dr. Montgomery. The diet helped him get his heart disease under better control. He no longer has type 2 diabetes, and he lost 50 pounds.
At first, it was a little shaky there. I didn't want to do it because I'm a meat and potatoes man. But then after he told me the ins and outs of what it could do for my body, how it could cleanse my body, then I gave it a try.
The weight loss is very nice and it's cosmetic, but the real magic has happened under the hood with him. Someone with the amount of vascular disease that he has should not function at nearly the capacity that he functions at. And it's because of the lifestyle change that he's made is what has gotten him to that point.
Well, I was taking 13 medications. I'm down to 4. My diabetes is under control by eating less meat.
This plan requires some pretty serious dietary changes. Dr. Montgomery encourages people to load up on things like fresh fruit and vegetables, avoiding all animal products. He says go with
minimally processed, whole food, plant-based. I try to avoid terms such as vegetarian or vegan.
His patients eat food as close to its natural state as possible. He suggests you shuck a corn on the cob and eat it raw or lightly steamed to keep its nutrients. The biggest step is letting go of meat. Dr. Montgomery has another term for it.
Individuals come and they have advanced illness. One of the first things you want to do is remove animal flesh from the system and dairy products because it puts an extra burden and the body's not able to digest it.
Since food often affects us psychologically, it may help to look at it beyond flavor or even texture.
But if one were to eat a cheeseburger now, it would probably taste good for that moment, but from that point on, you only get the adverse effects of that cheeseburger.
Victor and Rosalie let go of cheeseburgers and say it worked.
I only put what I'm supposed to eat in my refrigerator, freezer, and pantry. That's the best way you can do it. Don't bring anything into your house that you can't have.
Thank God for the pleasure of meeting Dr. Montgomery because he's changed my life. He and God.
Let's find out. Even at 80+ years, diabetes can be reversed with good nutrition. Isn't that encouraging? The next video news.
Someone we all know whose turbocharged appetite for fast food was matched only by his turbocharged personality, President Bill Clinton. He has made a big change in his diet. He is a vegan, raising the question if the first boomer president can press the restart button at the age of 65. What about the rest of the boomers? Here's ABC's Ryan Claiborne.
There was a time when Bill Clinton never met a Big Mac he didn't like.
I'm eating an apple fritter right now.
Hillary Clinton persuaded White House chefs to cook healthier meals, which kind of worked. But it wasn't until 2004, when he had triple bypass heart surgery, that Bill Clinton truly got serious about changing his eating habits. Then last year, with the goal of shedding 20 pounds for daughter Chelsea's wedding, he cut out all meat, as he explained to Barbara Walters.
For several months, I just essentially quit eating animal products, including dairy.
So it's mostly what, grains and...
I mostly eat vegetables, fruits, and whole grain bread, and I just feel better doing it.
For more than a year now, Clinton has been adhering very closely to what's known as a vegan diet. Like a vegetarian diet, the vegan diet excludes beef, chicken, and pork. But the vegan diet goes even farther, cutting out fish and all animal byproducts, including cheese, milk, and eggs. What does it leave? Mainly fruits, vegetables, nuts, and grains.
He says that he's doing really well.
Cardiologist Dean Ornish helped teach President Clinton how to eat more healthfully.
Moderate changes weren't enough to help him reverse or prevent heart disease. So he began following more of a plant-based diet. In our studies, we showed that it could actually reverse the progression of heart disease. Within a month, we found that the blood flow to your heart can improve.
And yet, despite all evidence of its benefits, a lot of people still shun healthier food because it doesn't sound very tasty.
What would you say to people who think that vegan food is bland or tasteless?
They probably haven't tried it.
It's good?
It's excellent.
And not just tasty, but they say it also makes them feel better. And Bill Clinton agrees as he celebrates this milestone birthday today. The formerly corpulent former president says he's slimmer, fitter, and feeling more energetic, Diane, than he has in years.
Get rid of insulin, control blood sugar, minimize medication in just a few days. Sound too good to be true? Rosalie Isles did it. She was hospitalized, overweight, suffering from hypertension and high blood pressure when she met Dr. Baxter Montgomery, and he immediately put her on a special diet.
But 3 days after I went on this diet, I was taken off the insulin. I had been on insulin since 1987. I no longer take insulin.
By getting on a plant-based diet and getting it completely off animal flesh, it allowed us to get off the insulin, and it allows her to lose weight.
Rosalie says she lost 35 pounds in 2 months and reversed her heart disease. This is Rosalie before the diet. Now, at the age of 81, she's confident enough to model in fashion shows.
I feel like a different person. Ever since I started coming to Dr. Montgomery, my life has been different. I'm completely changed.
The dreaded scale.
Victor Fuller had just undergone his second life-saving open heart surgery when he turned to Dr. Montgomery. The diet helped him get his heart disease under better control. He no longer has type 2 diabetes, and he lost 50 pounds.
At first, it was a little shaky there. I didn't want to do it because I'm a meat and potatoes man. But then after he told me the ins and out of what it could do for my body, how it could cleanse my body, then I gave it a try.
The weight loss is very nice and it's cosmetic, but the real magic has happened under the hood with him. Someone with the amount of vascular disease that he has should not function at nearly the capacity that he functions at. And it's because of the lifestyle change that he's made is what has gotten him to that point.
Well, I was taking 13 medications. I'm down to 4. My diabetes is under control by eating less meat.
This plan requires some pretty serious dietary changes. Dr. Montgomery encourages people to load up on things like fresh fruit and vegetables, avoiding all animal products. He says go with
minimally processed, whole food, plant-based. I try to avoid terms such as vegetarian or vegan.
His patients eat food as close to its natural state as possible. He suggests you shuck a corn on the cob and eat it raw or lightly steamed to keep its nutrients. The biggest step is letting go of meat. Dr. Montgomery has another term for it.
Individuals come and they have advanced illness. One of the first things you want to do is remove animal flesh from their system in dairy products because it puts an extra burden and the body's not able to digest it.
Since food often affects us psychologically, it may help to look at it beyond flavor or even texture.
But if one were to eat a cheeseburger now, it would probably taste good for that moment, but from that point on, you only get the adverse effects of that cheeseburger.
Victor and Rosalie let go of cheeseburgers and say it worked.
I only put what I'm supposed to eat in my refrigerator, freezer, and pantry. That's the best way you can do it. Don't bring anything into your house that you can't have.
Thank God for the pleasure of meeting Dr. Montgomery, because he's changed my life. He and God.
You all may remember last year, I actually went on a Project Unhealthy. In 5 days, I gained 8 pounds. In 5 days, I actually became hypertensive, developed high blood pressure. I don't even want to know what was going on inside my body. America, listen up. This is what you're doing to yourself. I did it for 5 days. I felt miserable. I gained weight. I put my body in jeopardy, and it wasn't worth it. And you know what? I'm never going to do it again. Why did I do it? To prove a point. When you eat these foods, it causes an addictive pattern in your mind. But in the end, all you end up is overweight, lethargic, and not feeling good about yourself. This is me. So what happened when I ate a fast food meal? Well, something very simple. The contents enter your stomach, and I'm going to circle some of these contents that I call some of the killer contents of food. Sodium. These are fat molecules. These are refined sugar molecules. No big deal, right? Well, it is a big deal because when they hit your stomach, good things start happening, believe it or not. That's that dopamine release in your brain because dopamine and serotonin are going wild. You feel great. Oh my gosh, this tastes wonderful. It does, right? For the first few minutes. But things are also going on inside your body that aren't so great. Your pancreas is secreting more and more insulin to deal with that massive sugar overload from the fries, from the white bun, from the soda. Insulin does one thing. It drives sugar into cells. But it does something else. It tells your body to store fat. Why else would you have eaten a meal that big and that many calories unless you're about to go into hibernation? That's what you do when you hibernate. You grow a big belly. That fat that you see here, those fat cells actually grow in size. They start to secrete even more toxic substances, leading to heart disease, diabetes, and so many other things. All that sodium causes your blood pressure to go up, so your heart's beating twice as fast against twice as much resistance. And in your brain, you no longer are releasing dopamine, but instead, your brain is signaling you to release cortisol. Cortisol is a chronic stress hormone that ironically tells you to store even more fat. And last, but certainly not least, what isn't going on in my brain right now? I'm 30 minutes after my meal. There's no more dopamine. There's no more serotonin. I'm lethargic. I feel unhappy. I don't feel good about myself. And that is why when you first eat a fast food meal, you feel great. And 30 minutes later, you feel terrible.
News clip is going to blow you away, as it has someone we're all very familiar with actually reversing, of all things, heart disease. So, just like with type 2 diabetes. Let's answer our next question. Number 9. A whole food, plant-based diet can prevent and actually reverse America's #1 killer, heart disease. Bill Clinton is a vegan, and notice how great he said he feels now. No one would argue that he looks much better. But next is a clip from the show The Doctors, where Dr. Travis Stork ate the kind of diet President Clinton ate for only 5 days. Let's see what happened and how it made him feel, as he demonstrates what actually happens in the body from a fast food diet with lots of cheese and meat. 8 pounds in 5 days. Wow. Let's face it, there is just too much evidence for any of us to continue to make ourselves sick through diet and lifestyle. The right nutrition is the key to health, and something called antioxidants is a big part of that. Finding out what antioxidants do will help us answer items 10 and 11. 10. Antioxidants help to fight free radicals, which cause cell damage and can lead to cancer. But where do antioxidants come from, and what are these free radicals? If they're free, shouldn't we want them? So antioxidants are found in vegetables and fruits. You probably already guessed that. Vitamins A, C, and E are antioxidant-rich and they are key to a strong immune system. Question number 11. Certain vegetables and fruits, rich in antioxidants and high levels of vitamins A, C, and E, are key nutrients for a strong immune system. A good, nutritious diet which includes fruits and vegetables rich in antioxidants, vitamins and minerals, will increase immune function. To avoid colds and flu, or any other bacteria or virus, one need look no further than what is found in nutrient-dense foods. Conversely, research shows fats have the ability to impair immune system function, and cutting fat from the diet allows the immune system to be strengthened. All in all, a diet high in vitamins, low in bad fats, high in fiber, and low in toxic chemicals and animal protein will keep the body's defense system on guard and thereby protecting you from flu and colds. Let's watch a few remaining videos to see what the scientists say about antioxidant-rich foods, like fruits and vegetables, and why we need.
Well, here's something you probably didn't want to hear. We are in prime season to get sick, and it doesn't matter how old you are. Time for that nagging reminder to eat your fruits and veggies.
Now, this sounds basic, but here's why it's important. Fruits and vegetables have antioxidants, and antioxidants neutralize free radicals, which really, if left unchecked, can start to poison your body.
If you're not getting rid of those free radicals, all kinds of bad things can happen to you. So cells can be destroyed, your immune system is weakened, and that is when you get sick. So we asked fitness and nutrition expert Mark McDonald to come in and help keep us all healthy. All right, so most people don't even know that they don't even get the 2 servings of vitamins that they really need a day of fruits and vegetables and all that. But you say we actually need how many? 12?
At least 12 a day. So every day we're 10 short. And that's what really is causing people's immune system to just hurt. And it's like your cells start to rust. When you don't get enough antioxidants through fruits and veggies, you have oxidative stress, and it's like internally you begin to rust and your cells are destroyed.
So what's the best vitamin to take? Which should we have every day, bar none?
So these are vitamins, vitamin A, C, and E, and we'll talk about each one, but they actually are antioxidants.
Okay.
So we look at vitamin A. These are great sources to work into. You have sweet potatoes, cantaloupe, butternut squash, dried apricots, and carrots. So that provides you with vitamin A, great for your eyes and vision and immune booster. Then vitamin E, you know, we asked, like olive oil is a great essential fat, but grapeseed is a powerful in vitamin E, great to cook with. Almond butter, almonds, seeds, and we love avocados.
We sure do.
So this is vitamin E, so A, E, and then C.
Over here.
We have green leafy veggies. These are kale. People love like kale shakes. I know that you love those, Randy.
I'm a fan.
Broccoli, your peppers, look at all the colors, and then oranges. And that's vitamin C. These are boosting, these are immune booster vitamins, A, C, and E.
So I find, though, it's really hard to sort of keep track. I mean, is it possible that you're getting too many vitamins or too many antioxidants? I mean, how do you know?
Well, you can't have too many fruits and veggies. But what the mistake people make is they say, oh, okay, vitamin A is great for my vision. I'm going to take a vitamin A supplement, and they're going to take a pill, and that's when you start having problems because they're overloading on vitamins in specific needs when they're not doing the whole fruits or veggies.
People always say go with real food, right? That's better.
Go with real food, or if you're going to supplement, you have to make sure that you're taking, there's new supplementation now that actually is like whole fruits or veggies that are infused in a liquid format so you can drink it, so you're not just getting a piece of a vitamin C, you're actually getting this whole thing in a liquid format.
So liquid is better than solid when you're taking the vitamins?
Always. Fully absorbed. Liquid is always going to absorb much better into your tissue.
Okay.
And the antioxidants, once again, what do? They're just really good for us.
So every time we take a breath, we create a free radical, and that's like a left unchecked, a poison to your body. Antioxidants neutralize that free radical, protect your cells, boost your immune system, increase your metabolism speed, and really just allows us to fight those colds that none of us want.
So how many servings of fruits and vegetables do you eat every day? I'm just curious.
Well, I eat probably about 6 or 7 fruits, and then I supplement with liquid antioxidants.
All right.
Because we're busy.
We are.
And so I actually get about 18 when I put it all together. I get about 18 servings of fruits and veggies. Because we're busy, that's why I supplement too.
We're going to keep looking so young. The more we have, the more.
I know, right? If I start taking the advice, yeah, it'll work.
Yeah, you got to take the advice. Everybody at home as well.
Yes.
Mark McDonald, thank you.
Thanks so much, Randy and Victor.
Antioxidants are found in many fruits and vegetables, and they might just be your body's ultimate secret weapons against cancer. But what exactly are antioxidants, and why are they so good for you? As I've discovered, most of you don't even have a clue. What's an antioxidant?
I don't know.
Do you know any antioxidants?
Well, I know it's in green tea.
You know what an antioxidant is?
An antioxidant?
Yes.
No.
Do you know what has antioxidants in it?
I don't want to say the wrong stuff.
I'm with your daughter here. I've got a question for both of you. Can you name an antioxidant?
Oh. No.
Joining me is one of my all-time favorite guests, cancer prevention pioneer, Dr. William Li. Dr. Li, thank you very much for joining us as always. Talk about antioxidants and how they prevent cancer.
Well, antioxidants are natural protective molecules that Mother Nature has laced into a large number of foods. And there are literally thousands of different types of antioxidants, but they all do pretty much the same thing. They protect our DNA in healthy cells from the type of damage caused by free radicals, which are harmful chemicals that our body absorbs from things like cigarette smoke or pollution or fried foods or other sources of the environment. So antioxidants protect our DNA against the kind of damage that can cause cancer.
So you see why it's so important to both of us, and all doctors are concerned about preventing cancer, that you have enough. So everyone in our audience today is wearing their antioxidant health on their sleeve. Now, let's see how you did. Are you ready? I don't want to see any reds, any oranges. Let's see the numbers for the audience. You're all down here. Can I tell you something? You're America. You're a cross-section of everyone watching the show right now. Let me just go through these because it completely blew my mind. We have almost 40% of the audience in the lowest category possible. I actually didn't think we'd find anybody there. Not naively, thought that at least we're getting enough of these antioxidants into our bodies that wouldn't be there. Another 40% had the orange category, which is still, to me, a dangerously low level. And we only had a total of about 6% having greens and blues. Put your hands up if you're greens and blues. Let me just see you. It's like, yeah, I mean, there are a couple folks. But, you know, it's not many. Congratulations, by the way. Yeah. So the question then becomes, you know, why is it they're having these problems? And it's not surprising because we're getting on average about 2 to 3 servings of fruit per day and vegetables. It's not enough. And we know that. What do we talk about? 5, 7, 9, big numbers of servings, fistful size. So,
well, you can certainly get antioxidants in pill form, but the very best way of actually getting antioxidants is in the foods that we eat.
And what about organic versus inorganic? I get asked that a lot from the audience. Does it make a big difference with regard to antioxidant power?
Yeah, well, some studies have actually shown that foods grown organically can have greater levels of antioxidants. And the reason is because antioxidants also protect plants. And when plants are grown organically, that's without pesticides or chemicals or antibiotics, they actually have to produce more antioxidants to protect themselves. Right. And when we eat them, we get the benefits too.
That makes sense, everybody? Yeah. Now, why is Stephanie wearing a red shirt?
Because I have an addiction to pastries. So I really wasn't surprised at my results.
Well, let me just point a couple things out to folks who may be surprised by your results. You're thin, you look athletic, you look fit, and your numbers are still low. Your numbers weren't just low, they were among the lowest we found in the entire audience of 200-some people here. So it's a dangerously low number. I want to sink in to everybody today the fundamental principles of what antioxidants are and why I care about them, and why world-class physicians and cancer researchers like Dr. Li are dedicating their lives to getting this message out. You want to play with me a little bit?
Sure.
Okay. So this is what your DNA looks like. Okay. You see the balloons lined up, and they're very neatly aligned along these little cables, because when the DNA has to reproduce itself, it's got to make a perfect copy. If it makes a mistake when it copies, what happens?
It's going to continue.
And it'll make mistakes that are propagated, right? It's like you're giving your kids a bad habit. They're going to take it to their kids.
Right.
So you make bad habits in DNA, and they turn into rogue sociopathic cells, which we call cancer. All right, so you get to be a free radical. Okay? So I want you to take your free radical power, and I want you to knock off these balloons. I want you to show what it can do to DNA when the DNA is not protected and free radicals can attack it. Go ahead. Whack away. And one more. And what happens? It begins to be very, very unstable. Now, if I don't hold it, it's going to collapse. Now, what ends up happening when you lose all of this power is that you begin to make the errors I'm speaking about. Then, the body has to develop a technique to protect it. It's called an antioxidant. So I'm going to be the antioxidant now. And my job is to prevent you from knocking off the remaining pieces of this, right? Otherwise, the whole thing collapses and we're done. You're going to have oxidation. You're going to have stress in your life. The kids are going to get you tired. You're going to have issues at work. That's going to happen. You're going to eat foods that aren't always perfect for you. I'm okay with that. But you got to have the antioxidant back up to come in there and defend you. So go ahead, knock down, try to take it away. There. Go on, one more time. Try to get at it. She's hard, all right? You can't get there, right?
Nervous.
Just take a whack up there. Try to get it. Right. The free radicals are fast and they're quick, but the antioxidants are your natural mechanisms that we have always had for all of our existence. Every human being ever created has had antioxidants that can protect us from the world around us. That's why this is so critical.
Need more of them. Research shows that those who eat a vegetarian, plant-based diet have a lower BMI and a lower incidence of being overweight. Conversely, eating a diet high in fat, cholesterol, and refined sugar, such as fried foods and processed foods, leads to weight gain. Let's take a look at our final news video clip where the issue of nutrition and obesity is discussed and how prescribing fruits and vegetables instead of drugs is helping to win this war.
A fresh approach to medicine. You've heard the expression, an apple a day will keep the doctor away, but now that apple could actually be a prescription. Doctors in 7 states and Washington, D.C. are participating in a program where they write prescriptions for fruits and vegetables, and then they give those patients vouchers to go and buy their fresh fixes. It is being used for people at risk for illness like cancer, stroke, diabetes, and other chronic diseases. Of course, it's great to eat healthy, but, you know, I always have to ask, where is that money coming from? Here with all the details is our doctor on call, Fox News' medical A-team doc, Mark Siegel. So where is the money coming from?
Well, here in New York, it's coming from the Lori Tisch Illumination Fund, but there's a larger picture here. Wholesome Wave is a nonprofit organization that's been doing this, Melissa, for a couple of years now, and they're getting great results. And so they finally have moved it to New York. It was in 7 states last year, and they're actually affecting change with a very novel approach. What is a prescription? You know, a prescription, we generally think of it as pills.
Right.
But here, we're prescribing fruit and vegetables. So it's a fruit and vegetable prescription program with a doctor, a nutritionist, a patient, and here in New York for the first time, hospitals. Lincoln and Harlem Hospital, where there's farmer market right outside, and they give you a prescription, and you get a voucher, and then you go out. But we spoke to the medical director of Health and Hospitals Corporation about how this can actually combat childhood obesity.
It addresses the need. It not only provides a prescription, but it provides things that are traditionally beyond traditional health care. Food, good nutrition, and it gives people the wherewithal to get that if they can't afford it.
So, I mean, of course, this tackles one of the biggest problems with healthy food is that it's more expensive. I mean, as a value proposition, when you're trying to feed your family and stretch your dollar, nothing works like McDonald's. So is something like this working with lower income families?
Melissa, this is all about a culture, and you're pointing to it. It's a culture of prescribing. People are used to getting sick from being overweight. With Obamacare, that's one of the #1 cost leaders there is obesity. Obesity leads to every disease that I treat. And obesity is one of the reasons that the costs are skyrocketing. But with this particular program, in the first 2 years, they've already seen 55% increase in food and vegetable consumption, 30% decrease in weight of obese children. So the key here, though, according to Dr. Seema at Lincoln Hospital, is the role the doctor is playing. The doctor is coming there, talking to the patient, prescribing a very specific plan per patient in order to affect change. Let's watch.
It is unusual giving prescriptions for fruits and vegetables versus a medication, but it sort of makes you realize how much the diet is important and the right foods that you're eating is important on a daily basis.
Sometimes they don't tell you that you don't know what exactly is good for the kids, what is not good for the kids. But sometimes the doctor told you it's very, very good, and you have to take it more seriously.
So this is about $1 a day per family member that you get, and then you can go to 142 markets. But I found in reporting this that it was mainly the markets right near the hospital where they were going. But that's terrific. You come out of the clinic and you're right there with the farmer's market. And the growers are very excited about this because they're getting vouchers. They're making money on the deal. The patient is doing better, losing weight. They're going to have less long-term health costs. The doctor and the nutritionist feel that they're part of something. This is the government. And of course, in this case, it's the Department of Health in New York that's behind it. This is the local government involved in something positive instead of just extending entitlements across the board.
Yeah. It does seem like, though, I mean, back to that other point, that it's going to be hard to do this on a larger scale. It's hard to undo the value proposition of, you know, processed fattening food is just cheaper. I guess this is a step in the right direction.
I think this is key. And you know something? I went into this dubious, thinking this might be a gimmick.
Yeah.
I was very surprised at this. This is actually working. 55% more fruit and vegetables, and I can tell you that decreases weight. 30% decrease in weight in just a couple of years. This is going nationwide. You know, HHC is saying this isn't just hospitals, it's clinics across the country. Because if you go to more rural areas, there's less hospitals. This is the way to cut down long-term on healthcare costs. Obesity is an epidemic right now.
Dr. Mark Siegel, thanks so much.
Great to see you.
Interesting stuff.
On obesity. Isn't that amazing? Well, that brings us to the end of week 4. Next week's topic is on the importance of water. Thank you, and we look forward to seeing you all next week. He who has health, has hope, and he who has hope, has everything. And as always, your health is